This is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin, he's Garland, and this is the discussion of the season finale of Insecure. So if you just watched it, you know that we want to talk about it because we had a lot been going on, and this episode actually put a nice little bow on everything. So
It did. It
you
did.
know, we
It
we
did.
we definitely would like for you all to join in on the
Yeah.
discussion so we can talk about it. But anyway, real quick, what's
Yeah.
going on with you, Garland? I know our Ravens lost today, but they
They
actually beat us
won.
into the playoffs. Yeah, they
Right.
beat us in the next week. I mean,
You win by losing. They said the last shall be first and the first shall be last. I
there you
mean,
go.
they were trying to run a score up on us for real. They were dancing all hard and all that other stuff. I can't wait till next year. So I can't wait till we're at full strength because they did a lot of dancing today, and they're
They
gonna remember
did.
that.
They
Yeah,
did.
they're
That's all
gonna
right.
remember
That's
that.
all right. That's all right. It ain't really hurt us as much as I thought. But anyway, the Steelers
Yeah,
lost. But anyway,
yeah, yeah.
let's get into this, man, because it's late. I know the people want to go to bed. Some of y'all got to work tomorrow. I'm
Right.
off until the new year, so I don't know about the rest of you. But anyway, hey everybody, how y'all
I got
doing?
an
So let's
early
get
flight.
into
I gotta get up. So yeah, I gotta get up until everybody. Since you know, normally what happens is we view the show. I write a little synopsis like the next day. I might take some notes during the episode, or if I'm home, I'll rewatch it and then I'll write up some notes and then we'll go from there. But since we're doing this kind of live, I don't have notes. But I do. I see a couple themes, and I wanted to talk about some of those themes. And so, let's start with you, Calvin. What was one of the themes that you saw and tonight's episode really is built around celebration. So we see Issa. She, the aftermath of Lawrence and Nathan, the fight at the party. She's talking to Amira Issa, who's wilding as always, and she basically says, I just want everything, and I got it written down here. I want everything to be right in the future. I just want to be in a place where everything is right. And so we start going into things revolving around birthday celebrations of all the main characters and, how they are at different stages of life. And so, what was one of the themes that maybe might have stood out for you?
Yeah, well, first I want to recognize that I really loved how they did that timeline where instead of just jumping forward, they actually went to
Right,
everyone's birthday. So they gave us that timeline of 2 years because Issa and Molly celebrated birthdays twice, actually.
right,
So they gave us that
right.
timeline. But the main theme that stuck out to me, and you know what, I can say it better by playing it for you. This is the main thing that stuck out for me. She can't get scored. She hurt anyone that gets involved. Don't want to commit by taking this. Listen, if you don't know, that means Nathan is a runner. He's a track star, just like I've been telling y'all the whole time.
Nathan did
Oh,
not run. Nathan
are you
did. Nathan
Nathan?
did run.
Nathan
He did.
started
He
off the
no, Calvin. Come
episode.
on, come
Nathan
on.
started off the episode and said, I I really it's been in me and I really need I just can't I can't stay here. He literally said that to her in the car. He ran.
I
He
think he
ran.
came. No, he came to the realization that this whole thing that they were trying to do was not right, and it was not right for his mental and physical health, and that it was time for him to step back. And so I don't say he was running as much as he was preserving his own mental health.
Okay. Run in, step back, tomato. The dude
Calvin,
left.
they not. Come on, man. They not the
the
same
dude
thing. That's not
the
the
dude
same
left.
thing.
The dude left. Listen, man. Listen,
And
man.
ran
As a
again.
matter of
Y'all gonna
fact,
stop. Y'all gonna stop all
as
this Nathan slander
As
tonight,
a matter
okay?
of fact, because all these people that were talking about, oh, she should be with Nathan, had my little friend LaDon Black posting, oh yeah, I think she should be with Nathan, and I was like, oh no. But you know what? You know
Yeah.
what? And another thing, Garland and I haven't had a battle in a while, and we need to do a music battle. But I am going to bring back out the belt because this is for Lawrence. This is the belt for Lawrence. I just want to say that this is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. He's Garland, and this is Lawrence's championship belt with Issa.
Well,
Y'all see it.
that's a fake. He won that by default. He won that by default. Basically, she went through all
Hey,
these dudes,
to
and
be the champ,
Katrina
you gotta
stopped.
beat the champ.
Katrina, you
To be
wrong.
the champ, you gotta beat the champ. You don't win on a technicality.
It wasn't even a thing of a technicality, and I guess I look at it different. I'm looking, and I'm not looking at it from the team Nathan, team Lawrence, because obviously it was going to end this way. That's the way that the characters should have ended. So I don't have any beef with the ending itself because they were destined. And I was just kicking against the pricks. I knew that they were destined, but I just thought that team. I thought Nathan had a chance because I really just thought Lawrence had a lot of issues as well. But what I will say is that I looked at it in the opposite sense of that he was not running as much as he just decided she don't love me, and maybe I don't love her. And
I,
that, to me, that's wise. Instead of going in and saying, okay, yeah, let's talk. Main man just felt it right there. And a lot of times, to me, it just show you got to go with your gut.
I'm going to meet you on that level because last week I talked about how the issue that I think Nathan had wasn't really with Lawrence. It was more of an issue with Issa. When Lawrence came and stepped to her,
Mhm.
Issa did not shut that down. She was
Right.
kind of so if I'm Lawrence, I'm thinking if you didn't immediately shut that down, then you still have something for this dude. Because if you had something for me, you would have immediately shut that down and been like, "Nah, we not doing this. It ain't no stuttering, ain't no stammering." So I'm gonna meet you there because yeah, I think Nathan decided, I'm gonna bow out of this because not only is this not good for me, but clearly she has some doubts about this relationship and she has some doubts whether she wants to be with Lawrence or not. She
Exactly.
clearly isn't sold on not being with Lawrence. However, because I didn't like Nathan, it's still gonna be all about
That's
Team
a shame.
Lawrence.
One of the
Oh,
things.
wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Someone said that she should have been with sexy homeboy. I
Homeboy.
don't know if y'all looked at him, but homeboy kind of looked like Ray from Good Times. He kind of looked like a young
Right.
Ray from Good Times, and he go go up to Walona. Eventually, he would
He
start
gonna get the
molesting Thelma.
right. He gonna
My
get the
wife
Thelma.
said, my wife said he went up and been like le neck, le arms. He looked just like looked just like
He was too
Ray, so
pretty.
you can't
Y'all,
trust him.
y'all
Yeah, you
know
can't
y'all don't
trust
want no guy that pretty. He was too good looking. He was
his
too
his
pretty.
S curl. His S curl was tight.
Right. A man that pretty would make black women so insecure. That would have been a whole new season of Insecure. Of black women with too
Next
pretty men.
next thing you know, he be in the mirror with your lashes on.
Right.
Girl, these look good.
Talk about, yes. I went to the lastician. Got my lashes done. All right, man. We ain't got that much time. I gotta get up
Okay,
early for
okay,
a fight.
okay.
All right. And so one of the things I caught was life, and how in life it just goes up. It's this scale of up and downs and peaks and valleys, and you get to a certain point where you realize, like, wow, I've got to live. I've got to evolve and go after those things, and you realize the shortness of it. Like, you have losses and stuff. Like, when we're young, we never think we're going to face death or major decisions or disappointments or failures in relationships, things like that. We just have this, like, hey, I'm just gonna do it all. But then life comes. It's so funny. One day I was in the kitchen with my youngest daughter, and she had some bills, and she was like, I remember when I said I wanted to grow up, and now I'm realizing, why was I saying that? How come you ain't tell me? I was like, what you're dealing with is what I call Monday. It's a part of everyday life. This is life. And some days you're ahead, some days you're behind, some days you're on top, some days you're on the bottom. And so we saw that, I thought, through these different stories. Kelly, through everything that she went through, and all, ending up with the person, pretty much a soulmate.
Yeah.
Tiffany and Derek making that transition, and working through those things and becoming comfortable where they were. And of course, Molly and Torian and Molly, really allowing herself to be open and transparent in relationship and not being afraid to embrace it even in the loss and transition of a dear loved one. And of course, our girl Issa going through those different things. And we even saw it a little bit with Lawrence. He still was trying to get his his end pieces, but eventually he ended up where he wanted to end up. And so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And you're definitely right. And that statement, and like this, the title of this was "Everything's going to be okay." And just like you mentioned, life, and this was definitely one of those sayings that life comes at you fast. In one instant, it's the battle between Nathan and Lawrence. The next instant, Molly's mom dies. The next
hmm
instant, she's getting married. Kelly all of a sudden wants to have a baby. Tiffany's not happy in Denver. But then when we see Tiffany again, she's pregnant at the wedding.
right,
Molly's getting married. Issa has moved on, and towards the end, we see her and Nathan with their blended family having the son and everything. I mean, and then I also loved how they transitioned. They went back through the neighborhood, saw Thug Yoda, went back through
right.
her old job and all. But yeah, so life comes at you really
hmm
fast, and this was definitely kind of the theme of this. And everything ended up okay. Now, whether ending up okay means being with Lawrence or whether ending up okay means you just being okay with you, because she seemed to have that revelation at the end that no one doubted her but herself. And we've talked about that throughout this, how Issa's her own biggest critic, her own biggest enemy. She's always striving for something, feeling like she's never really made it, when all she has to do is just sit back and take her time because she's doing well. And she finally got that. And we can see the fruits of her labor at the end. People are actually celebrating her now. She's not driving that little Lyft Uber car anymore.
right.
She's now driving a Lexus. So yeah, you got to be proud of them. You got to love them. I think it was a great episode. I think last week's episode was the best of the season, but I think this was a great episode to put a bow not just on this season, but on the whole series.
Right.
I really thought it was a good episode.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, everybody won. It did not really end with bad, like, oh wow, this person lost out, this person, and no, Ashley, I'm not gonna rush. I know I'm going out of town. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna rush off things black. Um, but you had said something that was interesting. Not only, and I saw this in the episode, not only was excuse me, Issa kind of like she was her own worst enemy, but also these other characters, they were their own worst enemies
They
as
were.
well. Kelly with just the fickleness. Tiffany, really wanted to be in control, and then going through the depression and dealing with the doubt and all of those things. And of course, Molly and her issues as well. And so they all had these things that they had to conquer, and they finally did it. And I thought that was great to see that, even with Lawrence, even seeing that him wanting to be a dad, wanting to be in his son's life, conquering and we saw this at the start of this season, how do I uh, be a father and I don't have to be in a relationship with Condola? And so we saw that, hey, they eventually worked it out. And he's being a impactful father and all. And so, seeing this theme of going through these different things, um, I thought was, kind of like you said, it really brought it full circle. I see Ashley saying that, Issa riding through her old spots was a celebration of areas of LA that aren't usually filmed, Inglewood, etc. And that was, it's funny when we talk about shows, a lot of times we don't talk about the locations or the settings. I know, like for The Wire, one of the most significant characters in The Wire was Baltimore City itself. All the sites, it wasn't nothing to sit down and watch, and you'd be like, yo, that's East Side, that's this place, that's that place. That was a character of the city, of the series. And LA was a character in this series. I read a lot of think pieces about how this really put a spotlight on Black LA. Inglewood, the gentrification in certain areas, and different things. A lot of times I think when we think of LA, we think of Hollywood and movie stars and all, we don't necessarily, or we think of gangs. We think that is real
Right.
dangerous, and
Right.
it's Crips and Bloods. Although we saw that with our man Bompton. That we knew
Thug
that.
Yoda.
Yeah, Thug Yoda. Yes, it was the element, but it was not the prevailing element.
Right.
These
Right.
these are people living a regular life in Los Angeles, in a sense, and so I
And
really like that as well.
and I also want to go back real quick when we were talking about everything ending well for people. And even though I give him a hard time, but Nathan seemed to end it well.
Yeah,
Nathan
Ethan
came in
Nathan.
and Nathan literally said, yeah, I'm starting to feel like this is home. Um, I think Issa may have felt a little bit like, wow, it took you to leave me alone to start feeling this tone. Maybe I wasn't good for you, but she ended it just by saying, I hope I wasn't a hindrance. And he appreciated it. They gave her a gift for the block. But so even Nathan
Right.
ended well. So, yeah, it all everybody won.
Right.
Everybody won.
Everybody
Yeah.
won. Yeah. Yeah. My boy Nate, he had to find himself. He had to, become comfortable with who he was and how he fit into where he was, how he fit into his community. And, we saw that in that dialogue between them and all. And so for a minute, I was thinking like, okay, when she started talking about, she wants to be in a place where everything is good, and they started jumping scenes, I'm like, okay, are they going to do some futuristic thing where they're going to be going like, and they're going to
Yeah.
be getting old as they go along? And so, yeah, like you said, I appreciated the timeline of how they blended it out. Although it was kind of going at a very fast pace, we were racing to get to see if Lawrence and Issa were going to end up together, and in which they did. Um,
And
Go ahead.
Issa also gave people a little bit of what they've been asking for, because one of the things since the show has began has been, why is it only a half hour? Make it longer,
Right, right.
make it an hour. And she always said we're never going to make it an hour, but we got 40 minutes out of this
We
series
did.
finale. We got 40
We
minutes
did.
out of it, so
We
not too bad, not too bad.
we got something very strong. Now, here's your quirky question from the episode. One of the things that I saw when I'm trying to think whose birthday was it. Maybe they were in Denver. I think they visiting Tiffany and all, and they were talking about birthday dick. Now, is sex an adequate birthday gift?
Maybe if you're 23 or 24. I mean, um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a real conversation because some people be like, "Yo,
n-
this is
not
your gift."
not
And like,
so
does a gift
definitely
receipt come with that?
not by itself. I mean, you gotta have a plan, a gift. Like you now, but let me say it this way. I think women
Great
could get
combo, good
away
stuff.
with
I like that.
giving. I think women could give away with giving sex to a man on his birthday, but an older dude,
Yeah,
you
talking
ain't
about
getting
I
away
got
with
some
that.
I got some
Yeah.
deals, Nick, for you for your birthday.
put put a bow around the dick and be like, "Happy birthday." She'd be like, "So that's it?
That's it. That's
That's
all. That's all.
all? That's
Oh, and the
all?"
balls underneath. That
Yeah,
goes
and then
in.
she call her girlfriend and be like, "Girl, what you do celebrate your birthday, girl? So the 15 minutes that were my birthday,
Right.
we just had sex. That's it. Yeah, my birthday lasted
Yeah, that's
approximately 15 minutes."
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always been a discussion is sex to me, yeah, I agree. When you were younger, like, yeah, but when you got older, you start
Yeah,
looking like, okay, does a receipt come with the sex or something
yeah.
like that? Is it can I
I
exchange
mean,
it?
it ain't it ain't no McDonald's gift certificate under
Right,
that or
ain't
nothing.
that
Like,
right?
where,
Ain't no gift
yeah.
card ain't no gift card in your
I
butt or
mean,
something to go with
I
it.
mean, the dollar store sell cards. Like, what the fuck? That's
Right.
that's what we doing.
Right. That's what's up. Now, any surprises that you saw in the storylines that you were kind of like, wow, I can't believe they went there? And I go first. I thought it was Kelly being pregnant. To me, that was kind of like wow, because Kelly's always just the unpredictable wild card, and for her to kind of ascend to this point of uh, meeting her soulmate and being a mother. And she did have it in her because of course she was a great godmother to Simone. But this storyline, or that particular thing, I think was kind of like a surprise for me.
Well, I absolutely did not see Molly and Torian getting married. I
Right.
didn't see it coming. Did not see it coming. As a matter of fact, when they showed it, I thought it was actually going to be Issa and Lawrence getting married. I
Right.
did
That's
not
what I
see
thought at first
Molly.
too.
Yeah, I did not
Hmm.
see them getting married. Now, as far as a surprise, because they seem to have at her birthday, they seem to have come out and everybody knew. So it wasn't as much of a surprise when at first they were trying to keep it away from their coworkers. So it
Hmm.
wasn't as much of a surprise, but it was still surprising because I never saw it coming. And I'm glad she got married, and I'm glad she's happy with it. And I see Ashley saying that
Hmm.
Molly's mother died. Yeah, I definitely didn't see that one coming
Right.
either. That was a shock. They didn't harp on it either. They kind of just, another
Right.
life comes at you fast and then moved on after that. So,
Right. Right. Someone said I wish she could have had a glimpse of Kelly and the baby. Yeah, that would have been cute as well, just to see that and how far that progressed and all. Any disappointments?
just real quick, another surprise
Hmm.
um, was that girl getting pregnant again. I don't know why I always forget her name.
Tiffany.
But Tiffany being pregnant again, because remember Tiffany was so worried about
Right.
the postpartum syndrome that she had before with the
Hmm.
other baby, so she was so worried about it. Now I'll be honest, my disappointment wasn't with this episode. The entire season was a little less than stellar in comparison to the other seasons.
Mm.
The last two episodes were really good, but the season as a whole, compared to the first four seasons, I think was a little down for me. I don't know if it was the comedy factor because the story
Hmm.
wasn't really lacking, but the show has been really funny through the first four seasons, and this season wasn't as funny. So if there's a disappointment, I would rank it, if I had to rate them between one to five. This would be more like a three, three and a half, where the other seasons were definitely solid fours and fives for me.
Okay. I mean, think about how people rate The Wire. How we go through. We usually say the school
Season two was
season.
the worst.
People
See
usually say
the
season three is
doc,
worse.
yeah,
The dots and
yeah.
all. So you usually go 4, 3, 1, 5, 2. So if you were to rate them,
It's it's hard because they all kind of run together for me, but season one is definitely going to be top notch. This season five would be the last. It's difficult. I would have to watch it again.
okay.
I'd have to
I,
watch it
I guess
again.
I
Yeah.
would say season 2, where they're breaking up and Issa's trying to find her way, trying to figure out her leaving the after school program and trying to figure out what she's going to do and all of those particular things. She still has the kind of the thing with Daniel and all of those things. And so probably out of the 5 seasons, I would say that's definitely probably the number one for me, and then probably followed with the first season, which I thought was very funny. First season was really
Oh
probably
yeah.
your hardest comedy based one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think as the seasons progressed, the writing got more topical and dealing with the interaction of characters, as opposed to then Kelly just became the comic relief, although Issa still was a little quirky. Someone said Lawrence having a whole girl when Issa called him for it. I wasn't surprised, because
I
when he
wasn't either.
said he had something, and I heard the bell ring. First, I was thinking maybe it's Condola, but I was like, I know it's some skins, because that's how Lawrence operates.
Yeah, but what was he supposed to do? Is he supposed to sit back and wait for Issa to call him?
Now,
Like,
well,
uh,
no. Well, what happened to, and I had this in my notes, what happened to this gung ho? He had the battery in his back that his boy Chad put in his back. You supposed to fight for it, go out and get it. He
that
was being he was being
that was
aggressive
a
on the thing.
that was a whole year ago. Like, what was
Yeah,
he
but
supposed?
I mean,
He was
but
supposed to
where
wait
was
a
his
year.
where was his follow up?
Well, are you kidding me? It was
All right,
literally an entire year ago.
you was willing to blow it up at the party, but then you just like, oh, okay, now I know she ain't with old boy. I just let me go ahead and get some other chick.
Okay, so if we remember, every time she's the one that doesn't follow up with Lawrence. After the whole incident, Lawrence sent her a message. I'm sorry. I didn't
Someone
want it
said
to
let
go
it go.
like that. She could have came and said, it's okay, Lawrence. Why don't we get together and talk? No, sir. Every time Issa and Lawrence are not together, it's Issa's fault. There's not one time it's been Lawrence's fault. Not once.
Y'all Facebook users going to leave me alone. I want y'all to start registering so I can see y'all names, so I can start calling y'all out. Yes, I know Nathan lost. I'm cool with it. It's good. I had no problem with Issa ending up with old boy at the end. It's all good. I think that's the way it had to end that way. I think ending any other way would have
It
been
didn't.
kind of false.
It didn't. It didn't have
It,
to end that way. I
it
I
did.
would have
Yes, it did.
I would have I would have gave it a 2 star on Yelp had it ended any other way, but it didn't have to end with.
Exactly. It had to end that way. It had to end that way. And so, it's all good.
See, this is exactly why parents have
Okay,
problems with
thank you,
their
Autumn.
children.
Autumn said she
This is
didn't want Issa to
exactly
end up with
why
him.
parents
Thank you,
have
Autumn.
problems in their.
My
Isn't
niece.
it your
Thank you.
bed? Isn't it your bedtime, young lady? Isn't
It's
it
your
your
father's
bedtime?
bedtime too.
Is
He ain't supposed to
isn't
be
it
up
your
this late.
bedtime? I'm going to be the bad guy, but I didn't want Issa to end up with Long. Isn't it? You know what? You know what? This is what's going to happen. I see. I see. Right now, I'm gonna have to take my HBO Max password away from her because we are not going to be doing this. We are not going to be doing
That's a shame. That's a shame. But yeah,
it. Be your own
overall,
kids.
yeah, it be the ones in your house,
Be
the
your
ones that
be your own kids.
your own children. Ain't that something? Thank you, Autumn. Now, thank you for bringing some balance to this conversation. I mean, other than that, that's not taking passwords. Other than that, that's pretty much all I had. I mean, I thought it was a great. I mean, they had to do. It was a lot to capture. I think maybe this season, if I would say anything, to counter your point about maybe this being the weakest season, I think because we're in COVID, maybe they just did not have that time to plan in the writing room and the
Yeah.
maybe go as deep as probably us diehards would have loved to see, and have a little bit more of the biting humor that we love and stuff. And so I think whatever we're getting right now has definitely been severely affected by COVID.
Yeah, and I'm not upset with them about the season. I just, in comparison, it was, when you're expecting so much, it was just a little weaker. But hey, it was a great season. It was an
Great.
amazing series. Definitely going to go back and watch it again. Hoping maybe we can get some spinoffs. I know we just saw at the end of this on HBO Max, they're going to go behind the scenes and talk about the
Yeah.
series a little more. So definitely interested in watching that. So, any other thoughts on this, Garland? I know you got a
Nope.
plane to get on. Hey,
No other
any
thoughts.
some real quick thoughts like we always do. I got one really quick,
Go
very
ahead.
quick. I think that chicken and waffles are a scam. Chicken and waffles, you can you get it at a restaurant. It costs you like 34, 35.99. If you buy chicken wings by themselves and you buy waffles by themselves, you combine them. You may pay at the most $15. Chicken and waffles are a scam. Stop letting these people scam y'all.
I think if I would say anything, it's kind of funny. I think we're back at it feels like March 2020, kind of all over again. When we were getting all this information overload, when everything at first started dropping, and you were leaving the mail outside for like several days, and you wearing gloves when you went to the supermarket and all those things. You know, don't oversaturate yourself with information. Give yourself a break. Watch something that's light, read something that's light. Kind of, maybe not make the news the first thing, especially Fox 45 in Baltimore. Don't make that the first thing you get into in the morning. look at another alternative or outlet because this information we're in some tough times. People are feeling a lot of anxiety. They don't have anywhere to dump their trauma, and some people are carrying some heavy stuff from the last year and some change. And so be kind to yourself, and don't overload yourself. If you've been vaccinated, you're going to be okay. If you haven't been vaccinated, it is your decision, but it could help. And if you decide that you could do it, that would be great. It would go towards really helping overall the transmission and the mutation and all that's going on. But I'm not going to not talk to you if you're not. And so just be safe, respect those that are. If you're not, and let's just learn how to figure it out and live together.
Definitely, definitely. Hey
All things
man, it's
start with Fox 45. Yeah,
hey
let's
man,
talk to Tree Sanders about that. Maybe we can get on with
we
her.
need to. Hey man, it's been a great insecure season. It's actually been a great year. I'm sorry we didn't get to do anything at the end of the year, but maybe at the
Yeah.
beginning of the year, when Garland comes back, we can think of something to do just to welcome you all back. But it's been a great 2021. We appreciate
Thank
everyone joining us, and hopefully you'll follow us into 2022. I know we have This Is Us final season coming up, so we may
you.
want to do
Mhm.
that. That's beginning in 2 weeks, but we'll discuss it and we'll come back bigger and better next year. So thank you all for joining us. Have a
Yes.
great new year. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. And once again, signing off for the last time in 2021. This is All
Yeah.
Things Black with Garland
That's
and
something.
Calvin. I'm Calvin. That guy's Garland. And we will see you all in 2022. Happy
Happy
New
New
Year,
Year, everybody.
everybody.
Thank you, Katina. Everyone
Stay
be
safe.
safe. See you in the new year.
Hey, man, have a good trip. Stay safe out there. See
Thank you,
y'all when
bro.
y'all come back.